Hello everyone! We are getting close to wrapping up the month of June, and because of that, it is time to start talking about whether bans are appropriate and which cards might receive bans. So, before we get into that, I want to discuss the banning process. This process could change in the future based off of feedback, but the current plan is to pick out a handful of cards that I have identified as being notably more problematic than other cards, and that's based partially on feedback that I'm getting from people in the Discord channel. That list of cards that have been identified as problematic, you will be able to vote on each individual card, giving it a score of -2, indicating that you want it banned especially, -1, which indicates that you'd maybe like to see it banned, 0, which indicates that you are indifferent or undecided, 1 for you kind of don't want it banned, and 2 for you definitely don't want it banned. The hope for this voting system is it allows players to express both sides of the argument, that it's not just looking to see how many players want a card banned, but also how many players would be interested in seeing a card stick around. You will also have the opportunity to fill in your own card that you'd like to see banned, and that will be put on a list for me to share in the future. It may come up in a future vote if enough people express the same card as being one that they would like to see go away. So let's take a quick look at that list, starting with Chancellor of the Annex. If you saw the meta overview, you know that the card was very popular in this month, and it is also a card that if people were not expecting it, which is what happened this month, you tend to lose the games if you didn't come prepared for playing against Chancellor of the Annex. This card's on the list for that reason. I recognize that the card may not be a card that people want to play around, but I do want to give people the option to vote in either direction. The next card on the list is, of course, Jace, Wielder of Mysteries. The deck that used Jace, Wielder of Mysteries this month took both the first and second place, and it won every single game where it went first, and most of the games where it went second as well. Knowing that this deck exists will give players the opportunity to plan around it. However, because of how quickly it wins the game, even knowing that the card exists makes it very hard to build a deck that can actually counter it, especially when the Jace deck takes the first turn. Next card on the list is Black Lotus, and I've brought this card up mostly because it was very popular and it had a reasonably high win rate. To share my personal opinion here, I think that Black Lotus is a card that enables a lot of really cool decks, but also prevents a lot of other cool decks from seeing the light of day. That being said, we haven't really seen the full potential of Black Lotus yet, so my personal opinion is I would like to see the card stick around for a few more months before it enters the ban list temporarily. But again, the vote is in your hands for you to decide. The next card I have placed on the list is Strip Mine, which was featured in the second best deck this month. Strip Mine is a very oppressive card. It makes it incredibly difficult to play a deck that relies on lands, and I will also just quickly add here that even if Strip Mine gets banned, Wasteland will still be around, so for that reason, I'm going to be transparent. I think Strip Mine really ought to get banned, but again, I'd like to see what other people's opinions are. The last card I've placed on the list this month is the Rack. Despite the fact that the Rack didn't do fantastically this month, because we have play tested this in the past, I will say that I think the Rack is a very frustrating card to play around. I do want to give people the opportunity to preemptively ban it, but that being said, we really haven't seen the Rack get abused yet. So if you'd like to see really the full extent of the Rack's power, then don't ban it. It's really up to you. And that wraps things up. You will be able to participate in the vote by going to the website. There will be a separate tab for this vote, and the vote is going to run for 1 week's time from this video being posted. And after that, I will announce the results of the vote so you can start planning what kind of deck you might like to play in July. Looking forward to seeing what you all think, and see you soon.